In this video, I'm going to run you through the evaluation section for E2. E2 is the evaluation of the decisions that you made in response to challenges and opportunities that are specific to the research processes used. That is the performance standards that moderators will be assessing you against. Now, generally, E2 is the least successful section of the evaluation for students, so it's worth spending a bit of extra time and effort on it to make yours stand out above the pack. If you do well in this section, moderators will already be of the mindset that you've got a quality piece of work. What I would suggest you do is that you spend the first 10 minutes of your time brainstorming some of those challenges that you faced, and I'm sure that if you flicked back through your folio, you'd be able to quickly identify what some of those were, and any opportunities that arose from your research. I would select two to three of those that you have brainstormed to focus upon, and I'd spend 10 minutes again writing yourself some dot points about what it was that happened, what you did, and what resulted from it. This is going to help you to remember what it is that you identified about this challenge or this opportunity, and it's going to help you to write this section. So once you've got a list of brainstormed ideas, we now need to work these ideas into sentences and paragraphs. And remember that you are always being assessed against S3 in the evaluation, so we're looking for good structure within your writing. So focus only on one idea in each paragraph. A few hints and some questions and sentence starters that might help you. Remember that you need to focus specifically on the decisions that were made. So things like, early on in my preliminary research, I made the decision to. This is the type of language that we should be reading. After finding most of the statistics I needed through mention the website. If you mention it, you're then going to have to reference it, obviously, and a referenced evaluation looks professional. I made the decision to. So the decision came about as a result of what I did here. Because I was having difficulty in finding information related to X, I decided to, and explain to me what it was that you did. On the website, I found a reference to Y. I made the decision to look further into this to help me. Now that might have been an opportunity, something that you hadn't actually considered beforehand, but it explains how you then followed that through and how you came up with that new aspect to your research. A source that I found mentioned X. This was something that I hadn't considered before, and it led me to decide to. Okay, so the focus there is specifically on the decision that has been made. When you have outlined what that decision was, you briefly need to recount the challenge or the opportunity, and that's where your brainstorming up here is going to be helpful. Don't, however, make this the main focus of your discussion. It needs to be brief. So you relate the decision specifically to the research process that you used. Be careful not to simply rehash from E1 where you were talking about your research processes. An example might be something along the lines of, from conducting an interview with, I became aware of. This led me to their YouTube channel. From here I watched a variety of clips that helped expand my knowledge on such and such a topic. This was a good decision because it allowed me to, or it led me to develop my answer to my key finding. On and so on and so on. Okay, so you've briefly recounted what the opportunity was in this case, but it's not the main focus of the discussion. A few suggested ways that you can do this. So after you've outlined what the challenge or the opportunity was, you then can go down to here and again choose from a few of these, try and cover sort of the vast majority somewhere within what you're writing, but don't think you need to address every single one of these for each of the decisions that you're talking about. So you might do things like evaluate the impact of the decision against the effect that it made on the eventual depth or breadth of your research and the subsequent quality of your outcome. You might explicitly judge the decision and if it assisted in overcoming a challenge or helped you to capitalize on an opportunity. So, this was the most important thing, or this led me to the most useful piece of information, or this ended up having no impact whatsoever on my final outcome. The next one, what were the positive and negatives of the decision? In hindsight, did you make the correct decision? Could you have made a better one? What might have eventuated if you had? Just be careful if you are talking about what might have eventuated. You don't want to make that the focus of your response. Did your decision open up any new opportunities within your research? Did it lead you to new sources you weren't expecting or weren't aware of, or you wouldn't have found otherwise? Did it provide a new perspective and a new way of looking at things, a new way of looking into and for information? And was this good or bad? Was it useful? Was it a hindrance? Why? Did the decision affect the validity of your research, the reliability of your research, the authenticity of your research? For example, was it uniquely your own research? Was it real? Okay, so there are all kinds of questions that you can answer about the decisions that you made. Make sure that you stay away from identifying decisions without linking them to a problem to be solved or an opportunity that opened up. Remembering you are evaluating, not recounting. So I don't want, I did this, I did this, I did this. Do not reference challenges that don't link specifically to research processes. And examples that come up every year are when students spend a lot of time and word count on talking about problems that they had with their time management, problems that they had in getting in touch with people because they were too shy, people didn't answer their emails, they didn't get around to it, they had to work too much. Problems with the woefully slow school internet and waiting for people to respond to emails and or getting no responses. Don't focus on what you could have or should have done without linking it to the challenges and the opportunities. Remembering again, it is an evaluation, not a recount. Good luck.